All right, here's to I'm not going to do it, but I'll encourage you to do it. The popular thing for fans to do, and that is the refs suck, Jeff. They always suck. They're out to get us. Full disclosure, I grew up as the son of an official, college and NFL. Heck, for that matter, when I was a little kid, I was running the chains, the down markers. I mean, I'm a little kid running the down markers growing up for my dad doing high school games. Then went on to college games, NFL games. So I've been down there. I've heard it all. Trust me, I've heard it all on the field and from the stands. So I get it. The refs suck. They're out to get us. They're not, but you can think that if you'd like. But it's now a popular thing for players. And there's a few ways of looking at this. You know, one of these things is like, it's one of these issues where are things different now? Or have they always been this way and we just hear more of it now? Here's what the players are doing now. And I think it's really important because it's superstar players. The refs suck, and this has to change. So the fans are, the refs suck, they're out to get us, fill in the blank. The players, these are star players, the refs suck, and this has to change. Complaining about the officials, trust me, is not new. Okay? All the ways you can complain about officials, that part is new. When you think about it. Now, I know we live in a time where technology is so common that it feels like it's been around a while. But if you look at what you're able to do, what you're able to see on any given day, any given moment, within seconds of a play happening in an NFL game, you're able to see it in freeze frame. You're able to play it back. You're able to share it. So we live absolutely in the moment. And that's different. Our ability to complain and make noise is far different than it's ever been. The noise we're making isn't different. So do I think NFL officiating? I do think college officiating is terrible. I do. Because I think the game is messed up. I think the game has no flow. Replay has no flow. So I'm not even sure I blame it on the officials themselves. The construct of college football, I say this as a football nerd, the construct of college football is just clunky. It's hard to get a game going. It's hard to have flow. So, yeah, the officiating is bad. The officiating makes the game clunky, and the clunky game makes bad officiating. And I'm not kidding. But the NFL, where everything is supposed to be perfection, the industry that makes a bunch of money strives to be perfect in everything that it does. So is officiating in the NFL better or worse than it's ever been? It's probably better. Yeah, maybe not by much. I mean, I can hear my dad complain about some stuff, but yeah, probably better. So just remember, you can analyze, you can see it, you can zoom in on it every play. Okay, you get to scrutinize every single call, and you get to do it almost the moment it happens. So access to split-second decisions and our ability to rant about split-second decisions and see split-second decisions is all new. Right? I mean, it used to be you have to wait for the highlights later before you would cuss my dad. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm not. I don't have a problem with it. It's like everything else in our world. I mean, our ability to instantly sound off is how we live. And I'm cool with that. But it's in a different place now. Think about this past week. And think about this from the player's perspective. Two of the biggest names in the entire game today, two of the faces of the game today, two of the young megastars of the game today, they're going somewhere where historically players would not go. And if you want to say, well, notice how the NFL selectively won't punish these guys, I think you're going to be right about that. But the fact that these two guys go off is newsworthy. The biggest star in the game is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, as everyone now knows, went absolutely toddler-like crazy this past week or earlier in the week. He did apologize. I think the guy, the apology was about as good as he could do. He went crazy over an offsides call that was the right call. Okay? We all got to see it. Like the guy's foot is across the line. It's offsides. It's dumb. It cost them a game. I think one of the comments he made, because I think he's a sharp guy who has great insight and is very aware of where he is in the game today. When he made the comment, the brilliant comment that hurts, that call hurts the legacy of Travis Kelce, he's right. Travis Kelce will be in the Hall of Fame, but that play would be talked about and replayed countless times, and the legacy of Travis Kelce would grow. So Mahomes knows exactly where he is. He knows where he is in the media world. He knows where he is on the field. He knows his impact and his place in the game. And he corrected himself and apologized, but he went crazy. And his complaint was, nobody makes that call. Don't make that call. Yeah, it's offsides. Don't make that call. Look the other way. Nobody really makes that call. That was his position. He's wrong. He's wrong because had the call not been made, and within seconds on the game itself, everyone would have seen it's offsides. The flag was thrown instantly. That's how clear it was. But his position, oh, come on, man. Nobody makes that call. You got to let that go. Now, Micah Parsons, the guy that will soon be the highest paid defensive player, not in the game now, ever. Micah Parsons will soon be the highest paid defensive player the game has ever known. Okay? He's ranted now. And he didn't go crazy like Patrick Mahomes, but he's ranting and ranting and ranting. And I like Micah Parsons. I mean, he's a fabulous player. I'll tell you a funny thing about Micah Parsons. Thomas Henderson, great player for the Cowboys back in the day. Crazy story of Thomas Henderson. One of the greatest defensive athletes ever to play the game. Thomas Henderson was Lawrence Taylor before Lawrence Taylor. Thomas Henderson was Micah Parsons before Micah Parsons. That kind of player. He said something to me really interesting. He said Micah Parsons is playing too hard. He's going to end up getting hurt. It was really interesting. But I love Micah Parsons as a player. Everybody does. He wrecks the game. He is relentless. He is nonstop. There's just everything to love about the way the guy plays the game. He is passionate, and he is ridiculously talented. I kind of enjoy Micah Parsons off the field, too. He's a new generation that has media access. He does his own podcasts. And I'm really curious if the NFL is going to tell him to shut up, because Micah Parsons, who you can't say he's a dude who's just whining and complaining and doesn't care. That's not true. That guy comes and brings it every week. He loves what he does, almost to a fault. But Micah Parsons is incredibly open off the field. And it's both endearing and aggravating at the same time, because he's a sharp guy who cares. He is ranting for the exact opposite reason of Patrick Mahomes. And, you have to ask yourself, if you're the NFL, two of your biggest stars in 1 week are just going off on officiating. What are you going to do? You leave them alone? Because if this were the average player, they would have already been fined. So he's doing just the opposite of what Mahomes is saying. Micah Parsons now goes off and says officials aren't making the calls. He's flipping out because he believes that he is held all the time. Is he right? Yeah, mostly. Yeah. He's gone all in on ignoring me. They don't listen to me. They're doing it on purpose, all that stuff. And I think he's right. I don't think the NFL is going to like that he's saying this. I don't think the NFL is going to like that he's owning this. I don't think the NFL is going to like the fact that he's mostly right about this. He's getting held all the time, he's saying. And one of the things he brings up is he's getting held away from the play. In other words, the play says play's going left or is going left, and Micah Parsons is on the opposite side. He's saying officials are blowing it off that he's being held because they assume he can't get there and make the play. And he's arguing, man, I can run anything down. I'll go make that play. He might be right. So how do you want it? Because I'm going to guess that You don't want holding called on Micah Parsons all the time. Now, you're a Cowboys face painter. You're going to say, sure, right on. But here's the reality. Mahomes is saying don't make the call. Micah Parsons is saying you need to make the call. And what you want is you want him to be held a lot of the time because you like scoring and you want quarterbacks to be healthy. Because if somebody didn't grab Micah Parsons, someone's going to get hurt. That someone's going to be a quarterback, and nobody wants that. All right, he said this. And I don't know that he's wrong. Micah Parsons says he's being held on almost every play and would like to see coaches given more options to challenge a play where penalties should have been called. That right there is a pretty interesting discussion, nerdy football discussion all by itself. This is something Bill Belichick has maintained for years, and that is we should be able to pick any play we want to review. Now, I'm going to tell you, you don't want that for a couple of reasons. One, you don't want this to end up like college football and it takes forever. You don't want to limit the challenges. You don't want these fairly smart coaches to muck things up by reviewing everything. Number two, you don't want holding called all the time. You would like, as fans in general, you would like Micah Parsons being held some. Otherwise, he's going to wreck a quarterback. He says, quote, people say when you come over and talk to a referee nicely, he's going to want to do his job right. But in my eyes, why would I have to talk to you any kind of way if you just did your job the first time? Parsons thinks that officials are not being held accountable for their bad performances. I don't know if that's entirely true either. He says, quote, they don't care. They're not getting checks in the mail or notes in the mail about things like that. That's the only problem I have. It's just like they don't care. And when you tell them, it's just like, oh, you're away from the play. You can't make that play. How are you telling me what I can make? You and my body, you and my abilities, you can't make that play. I'm different. I can make every play. He's kind of right. He's going pretty far. He's basically accusing the league of saying, man, you guys don't give a flip about this. You don't care about me complaining. You know that I'm right. You still don't care. And I think Micah Parsons is sort of right about that. I wonder if the league will fine him. It's an interesting lead up to a big game with Buffalo. It's an interesting setup with the two biggest stars of the game today on each side of the ball, each making different rants in completely different ways. I don't blame him for complaining. I don't blame him as much as I blamed Mahomes. And I think Mahomes finally came to his senses and thought, man, I'm a little ridiculous. I don't think Micah Parsons is going to stop between now and the end of the season or the end of his career and say, man, I wish I wouldn't have said that. I don't think he's going to say that. He's held a lot, but you want holding, and you want it more often. In fact, I think that what's going to happen with holding, just so you know, if you just want to sort of follow, isn't holding on every play? Yeah, sort of. It's like a fundamental nerdy way of looking at holding. Next time you watch a game, just remember if a lineman's hands, okay, so they shove with their thumbs together and grab a hold. If their hands get spread out, that's when holding will be called. If an official in the moment with all these bodies flying around can see their hands get outside or near the shoulder pads, holding will be called. If the hands are inside the shoulder pads, the shoulders, then it likely won't be called. That's kind of how it follows. What happens to either one of them? One star says they call too much. The next star says they don't call enough and they don't care about us. And now the league can't like the two biggest names in the game, calling them out on a big, big week. What does the league do? Does the league treat them like they were a fifth-round pick? Does the league fine them like they were any other player? Does the league even listen to them?